guys can do that. Better. Awesome. So you guys want to share? You want to give reaction? Now, we're going to drink down the lunch. No reaction. So we're going to take the lunch. You said I think 50 minutes. So we're going to make it like 30 minutes. So guys, yes. So 12:20 will be 1:20 will be back from the lunch. It's too small, I know, but also before we do that, we want to ensure that we capture the attendance. So if you can just scan this, and it's just one question. You can just scan this quickly. It's going to take 1 minute to log in everybody. Just scan that, so we can know people that are here today. For those that joined us for breakfast, you know where we use in the morning. So we can just go now if you want to go for the breakfast, for the lunch. Also, we want to take some quick videos. So if you want to share your thoughts, your experience so far in the last 3 hours, we have the videographer here. So you can just reply. You still have time to catch up on your lunch. Anybody can just reply. You want to share your thoughts? Talk to us about some of the experience so far? Yes. Thank you. Happy. You can just see. Awesome. All right, guys. Let's go for the lunch. If you have done your attendance now, 12:20, guys. We can continue the conversation at the cafeteria. So you can just follow now. They are ready for us. We'll be back to 1:20. No. All right, you can go. Let's do that.
All right. Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, to the Beyond Limit guys, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to, be doing this. I'm particularly passionate about startups, especially in Africa. Although, fun fact is, I have no dreams or interest in building my own company. I don't sleep and dream about it. There's no itch or urge or problem that is keeping me up at night for me to want to build my, yes, I don't know why you guys went through this mental, but if you didn't go through it, then people like me would not exist. So thank you for doing it too as well. We have to thank the guys that are brave enough to do it. It's very interesting. But I know many people ask why I'm not interested in starting my own thing. But I'm a firm believer that everybody shouldn't be building companies. I think you need entrepreneurs in companies that can help you build your company. If I ask all of you and I tell you what's your biggest issue, you find out that it's not capital, it's talent. Is the person that you tell, take this thing from here and put it here. And they will put it there. That's your problem. It's not, we think it's capital, we think it's, in fact, many times, you find out that some of the things that kill startups is the people. Because in the speed of execution, customers, issue resolution, all those things like that, you are still trying to grow your revenue. You have customers that are using you. And you are letting them churn. Because one person refused to just take this thing from here and put it here. And so, for me, my own mission, or how I think about it is, I want to help African startups continue to scale. And the best way to help them scale is by building solid teams. So I'm very, very big on team building, hiring, team management, performance management, so as well. Interestingly, I have a very, very interesting background. So I'm an engineer by training, so I have a computer engineering degree. But I hate software engineering, I hate network engineering, I hate everything about computer engineering. And then I left and went to work in data. So I have at least 6 years of experience in data. I'm sure you're wondering computer engineering to HR. Yes, so I did HR for 6 years, so from business advisory, HCM management, transformation, performance management, recruiting, all that stuff. And then, HR was interesting, but I don't know. I went to join Adela. So I worked in Adela as Adela's first ever community manager. Till today, I don't even really know what the role is. But I was there and I did very well and said what a community management practice looks like across the continent too as well. And I was there for 3 years. For some reason, they thought I was very good at it. But the shop on again, and then I went to go and become country manager at Safe Border. That's where I earned the title MC Olomo with a macro. And then I do the work during the day, and sometimes I fight and remove. I know someone met me and he said, I remember that story of you removing your shirt and watching the work. Yes, but thankfully now I'm a lot more refined than this. A business where I work in computer-based selling smartphones. So, excited to be here. That's right. Cell phones. You need a phone. Yes. Just phones. Yes. And phones, car loans, all that. So we wound out of the solar business like about 3 years ago. So yes, we are doing a lot of work to change that narrative because people think we're a solar company. But I can't imagine carrying panels on my head and installing it on. Can you see, like, I don't have hair anymore, so there's no insulator for the back. Anyways, so today we'll be talking about visionary leadership, like how do you set a course for greatness. In everything boils down to leadership. Whether it's you, whether it's the kind of like leaders you hire in your company, whether it's the type of culture, leadership culture you set. Where's people?
Yes.
Do we have our
Resource.
markers, our resource, all those things like that?
Yes.
And they are already in groups, I mean?
Yes, they are already.
Okay, so let me give you the assessment now, so that as we are talking about all these things, you are thinking about it. And why am I doing this? Because my first ever country manager job interview, they took me to the field. I went around to see the entire operations, and they gave me my laptop and said, you have 30 minutes, full of a presentation on why you should be country manager and how you are going to scale this business in Nigeria. I got the job, so maybe I did very well in that assessment. But those are the kind of things that are required from leaders. So what the assessment is that based off of all the things we'll talk about here today, you are going to draw your own leadership coat of arms. Yeah, your leadership coat of arms. I have my own coat of arms.
Can you show us?
No,
Why not?
because then people will now start lifting. People start lifting things up. But think about the Nigerian coat of arms. So think about the Nigerian coat of arms. You know the Nigerian coat of arms. I went to school here. For those who didn't go to school here, sorry, but maybe Google will help you. And so, for me, the things that are like predominant in my own coat of arms is excellence. Like, everybody knows me. Excellence is progress, is ownership. John and Hugo will know very well. It's ownership. Like, those are the three predominant things in my own coat of arms. So everything that I do, that really translates into my leadership style and my leadership journey and how I think about it. So as we continue to talk about some of these things, and we talk about experiences, all those things like that. I like storytelling because I think people learn more from stories than from reading. If I was reading, I'll just send you this thing. You are smart enough so you can go and read it and understand. But like I said, from my own experiences and how I was developed by all the other individuals who were my leaders and things like that. So he's going to give you white paper, A4 paper. He's going to give you pencils. So you draw your own leadership coat of arms. We'll take maybe 10 people who will just talk about their own coat of arms and what it means and why it is too as well. So for those who know, in Nigeria there's a shield, which is what? Defense, or what is that? There's the horse. I don't know what those horses. It's strength, yes. Then there is an is there an ego or something? Yeah, unity and so these are the people that did very well in social studies. You can tell that it's like already telling me all the right things too as well. And so you kind of get a sense of what that coat of arm is. So you can think about your own coat of arm and design it. Now, the thing about it is whatever you think about and design here should not be your final coat of arm. The reason why I'm saying this is my own coat of arm took about 4 years to fully evolve. And because when I realized there were certain things that, were problematic about, before it was excellence, it was compassion, but then when you work in a tough environment like Nigeria, you learn that some things are not, excellence is not really in our DNA. All right. So, me, I'm a bushman, so how does this thing work? It's working now. All right. What is the essence of visionary leadership? The goal is for every leader to be able to inspire direction. You see, one of the biggest strengths of a leader is to inspire trust. It is to what?
Inspire trust.
It is to what? I know you guys just had jollof rice, but you answer me unless I'll tell you to stand up and do something I do for my sales team, which is called Atama. So, the biggest strength of a leader is to inspire what? Trust. Because it's from that trust that you can then now set a vision for the team and say, this is where I'm going to. Now, I like to, because I sit as an entrepreneur in a company, so I need to operate like a founder, but I don't necessarily own the company, so I need to be like a founder, but I also need to, execute like a founder and still understand that I'm an employee. So there's so much back and forth. So I would say I like to sit in the middle, and I look at, founders and I look at employees, and I see what causes the tension a lot in them. So who are the dream of the company? Who does that dream belong to?
The team.
No, it belongs to you. Every other person there is a mercenary. And what they are doing is an exchange of value. So they are giving you their time, their knowledge, and their resources for that work or activity that you are doing to actually progress, while you are getting that, while they might be learning, so they are learning all those things. So it's an exchange of value. So you pay them for the value, you give them salaries for that value too as well. Now, before you then now get to the point where the team starts to own the vision, you have to be able to inspire trust. So many times you see founders don't necessarily inspire trust in their team, but they are upset that people in their team is behaving in a certain way. And to be honest with you, you can always look at a company like family. If you know, maybe you're married here, you have kids here, you can tell your children one thing, but they are watching you and they are watching the way you are behaving, and they will do what you are doing. So many times I've had conversations with founders, and I've said, you keep saying that your core value is XYZ. It's written all over your wall. People will stand up and recite it. But when it matters the most, those values never show up. They show up on your meeting deck, they show up on your walls, very nice. But when it comes to the decision-making process that actually defines how the company operates, those values don't show. You know what happens in those type of situations? You don't inspire trust. And if you are not inspiring trust, you are not able to inspire the direction that people should go. So sometimes when you tell people you need to lift this from here to here, you've not given them the right direction. You've said it, but your behavior has said what?
Something else.
Something else. And so the job of a visionary leader is to articulate a clear, compelling vision, inspiring their team to embrace a shared purpose and drive towards a common goal. My team, they know me, aside from ownership and excellence, they know something. They say, Babs will tell you shared understanding, which means if everybody is not at a point of shared understanding, we are not going to execute. So everybody needs to get to a point of shared understanding. And what does shared understanding mean? It means if I tell you that this shirt is black, people are not seeing gray. They are not seeing charcoal black. They are not seeing what are all those variations of black, ash. They are seeing black. And until the time when everybody, you can ask anybody in the team and say, what color is this? And they're able to tell you black without the next person being there. No one has gotten to a point of shared understanding. Now, they might not agree on the direction, but they understand the direction. And so, as a leader, very important, because you are inspiring direction. You are not telling or showing or saying this is the direction. You are inspiring it. So it was very intentional for me to use the word inspire direction. The next essence is for strategic foresight. You know, we possess the ability to articulate future trends, identify emerging opportunity, and navigate complex challenges with what? Agility. Like I always say, you know, I like Twitter a lot because it's very noisy and you meet a lot of smart and stupid people on it. More stupid than smart. But, you see, I like all that noise that I see there, and sometimes it helps me validate certain things. So you see, they'll be like, oh, why is the CEO paid so much money? Many people don't understand that they are paid for that decision-making process. So, while they might not be the ones at the front lines, they are the ones who determine how the lives of the people in the front lines are. They determine how the lives of the dependents of the people. So many of you here, you know, you have your own startup. You have employees working, maybe some 5, some 10 people. Some have as much as 20 people. John, you have about 30. Yeah. So John has 30 people. In his mind, he thinks his decision-making process is only for 30 people. But that's not true. Because for all those 30 people, there are at least 5 people connected to those 30 people who are praying that John makes the right decision so that their person can still keep collecting salary so that they can help their own lifestyle. Then when you now start to think of it on the magnitude, you see some companies, they have 2,000 employees, they have 8,000, 15,000. How many people do you think are depending on that one CEO and his decision-making process? Anyway, you will know all these things, so let's not go too quickly. Yes. Yes, please. In fact, be asking questions. Remember, you are doing your coat of arms, so you better understand what is happening here. People who are not giving you people the paper. You use your phone. You can design on your phone. Yes. So you can start writing down some of the concepts, because it's from the concepts that you are writing down that you can then now start to think of like the coat of arms. You know, whether you are shield, through defense, or you are horse, or you are eagle. In fact, you know our own coat of arms doesn't really. Sorry. Yeah.
This is inspiring direction. I want to prevent everyone. So you can tell me. When you say inspiring direction, and you said something great, you said the front line, right?
Yep.
Being in leadership and differentiate, front line or key workers seem to have themselves mixed up with management and skills. How would you say to what you just was using the as I'm thinking, how am I inspiring direction? When I say this is the vision, this is the job title, what you're supposed to be doing. Yet, people are people, right? And so, outside of KPIs and performance, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. You know, and there's so many things, for example, people can do side hustle, they're cycling funds, they're doing this. So, if your vision is clear, if your direction is clear, if the goal you are performing as a leader is apt, right? So you're not, you're pumped to work, you're executing what you're supposed to do as a leader. Why are we still getting involved? Is it the hiring?
So there's so many things about it. So you see, and interestingly, next week I'm also your facilitator when we talk about talent and hiring and all those things like that. So you guys, if you see me today, this is not the end. So you know that I'm still going to ask you for your coat of arms next week. So, and I don't used to forget, ask Joe. And I'm saying ask John because me and John will work closely together for about like 2 or 3 months, too as well. So, one thing, I hear you, and to be honest with you, remember that when you look at how our environment is, your talent is coming out from this environment. So think of all the wrongs in the environment. The talent is coming out from this environment. But I can tell you that if you set your own internal structure right, you can get badly behaved people. When they go outside, they are badly behaved. When they come into your organization, they behave themselves. Because truth of the matter is, we think that everybody or all over the world they are well behaved. But truth of the matter is, you can bring some people from outside Nigeria into Nigeria, and you see them act the same way Nigerians. Yeah. So it's more around the systems. What are the rewards in the systems? What are the penalties in the systems? What are the do's and don'ts of those things too as well? And why am I saying this? It's because M-KOPA has 3 core values. We need a value assessment or a value, refresh in 2022. And M-KOPA's core values are progress, excellence, and humility. Yeah. That's part of the reasons why we don't make noise about some of the results that we are having. We need to also kind of come out of that humble shell too as well. So it's humility. And where do you guys think the excellence came from? No, I coined that core value. And it came from Nigeria. It came from Nigeria. Have you ever heard that they can call something in Nigeria excellent? Is what they call this thing in English, oxymoron. Have you ever heard? Well, it came from Nigeria. And the word was Lagos State is the center of excellence. Like the Lagos plate number is center of excellence. And now we'll see why the Nigerian team is so excellent. And so I coined the core value excellence in M-KOPA. And the excellence doesn't mean perfection. When you look at the subtitle under it, is showing up when it matters what? The most. For me, that's what I term excellence as. Showing up when it matters what? The most. So you as a leader are responsible for setting those guardrails. Now, you're saying, how do you then now communicate some of those things? I realize a lot of people don't use the tools they have in there. So maybe because I did HR and a little bit of change management, so I understand how to build proper communication plan that allows you to cascade information down to the lowest employee in the organization. But if you go to M-KOPA Nigeria today and you ask the cleaner will tell you 420, they'll tell you 100,000, and they will tell you 20,000. Those 3 numbers are the targets that we have as Nigeria to achieve. And when the cleaner is there, the admin person will explain that the reason why we are able to achieve that number is because when everybody enters the office and it is clean, they are not spending useless time to first of all clean their environment, rather they are spending it to ensure we hit 420,000. So the cleaner can even tie her job to why it's successful. The admin person can tie it. That, think about it, if you ever have to worry about water in dispenser in the office, the laboratory is not flushing, the office doesn't smell nice. For those that do lunch in the office, there is no lunch in the office when it's lunchtime. Think about the amount of time wasted if people are trying to navigate those things. Versus when you come to an office that all those things are fixed. So the admin person can tie the work they do to that. And how do they do it? It starts with emails. In fact, the most powerful tool I found out in setting direction and inspiring direction is emails. And so every first of the year, in the last 3 years, I've been sending out emails to the entire Nigerian team. And every year, we have a theme. The theme is what everybody drives towards it. Last year was quantum leap. And when I wrote the email, in fact, I had managers who were like, Babajide is gone crazy. Because FX was going up, inflation started raging, and you were telling me that we're going to do a quantum leap. And for those who don't know, like I said, I'm an engineering student, so a quantum leap is when a quantum is the smallest unit or quantity of something in the world. And when it leaps, it means that there is an energy cost that changes it from one level of energy to another level of energy. And so I sent an email out explaining to them that this year is our year of quantum leap. I'm putting the target and explaining what quantum leap was and all those things like that. Now, it's not just about sending emails. What now happened was every manager now took that email and in their first team meeting, they read the email. So nobody can say they did not read Babajide's email. Nobody can say they did not read it. Now, do you know what happened when I did it the first year? People went to reset it. The second year, they were like, what happened? So last year, we actually really did a quantum leap in Nigeria. We did like 3x our numbers. Like our target, we did 3 times the target. In one of the most or the toughest economic crisis, we did 3 times our target numbers to the point whereby even people in other countries were now talking about quantum leap. So what happened was when individuals in Nigeria were having conversations with these team members of theirs in Nigeria, they were using words like quantum leap. That's what we are doing. We are doing quantum leap. We are doing quantum leap. So even people who were in group, other countries were always talking about Nigeria. Nigeria is going through a quantum leap, and it became a thing. So we'll talk about some of those other concepts in here, on like how you use communication, all those things, and jumping into it forward. But please ask questions, because truth of the matter is this is not an academic exercise. If it was academic, I will send you the presentation. You read it like Nigerian lecturers do, and then you come and then we set questions for you and you answer it. But this is more around real life situations and real life applications of some of these concepts. Remember, you still have a good amount to deliver. All right. So, how are you crafting a compelling, vision? You articulate a few goals very clear. Remember the email I told you. So this year is our year of renaissance, not renaissance, renaissance, which is spelled very different, and is a mixture of renewed excellence, borrowing from our year of quantum leap. So, how I coined the email was, you see, I'm spending 4 years now in M-KOPA, so I'm entering my 4th year. If we were a political government and we were going for re-election, what are the things we'll be able to put forward that we'll say? So, the first year I was there, I joined half of the year, so I couldn't send a theme. But the first theme I put there was operational excellence, our year of operational excellence. And so we spent time building the muscles and the engines of like what would be an excellent team. By the second year, I said is our year of discipline through resilience and excellence. So it was a year of discipline, resilience, and excellence. The third year was a year of quantum leap because we spent time building the operational excellence. We spent time building the discipline and resilience in the team. And in building the discipline and resilience in the team, we fired a lot of people. Homework. All of you should go and read the law of startup physics. It's by first round. It's an article. The law of startup physics that tells you that human beings grow linearly and startups grow what? Exponentially. So sometimes you will hire people, they will be good for the startup at that moment. But then you find out 1 year down the line, because their knowledge capacity is not as exponential. So thankfully I figured that out in Andela. So everything I was doing to ensure that the way my knowledge base was going to grow was at an exponential level. So I wasn't learning linearly. So when people ask me, they're like, what happened in your career? I rarely tell them these things, but it was more exponential learning. Because you find out that companies grow what? Exponentially. And you don't want to be the guy who was the superstar. We've seen it a lot. We've seen it in some of our colleagues, our friends. They were the superstar. And then 2 years down the line, in the same company, they are telling them to go. Because they couldn't move out of that their superstar in a small aquarium. And now the thing is no more an aquarium, it's a lake. And they can't even swim in a lake. And meanwhile, the company is heading towards.
Even worse, sometimes the startup founder is a superstar startup.
Yes.
Then it now becomes a.
Yes. And guess what? Let me warn you people. So you hold your ear now. And I love it. You know, Mark Zuckerberg that you used to die on the hill for. Remember, I went to go and hire Sheryl Sandberg. Yeah. There is a reason why they hired her. You know why? She was there to teach him. She was there to do what?
Teaching.
She was an experienced individual. So you will get to a point where you will realize that your own capacity won't reach. Suspend ego. Hire a solid person. Make sure you do very well in hiring them. Let your board people talk to them. Don't go and make sure that he sounds nice and he wears black shirt. So maybe I hire him because I can collect your company. But that's not why we are here. But it's very important. But we'll talk about these things. People are making me jump. It's first round. It's an article on first round. I've forgotten who the author was, but if you check it and you do law of startup physics, that's the first thing that will come because it's one of the most searched articles of first round so as well, and it just explains the dynamics of those things. So when you are losing team members or you have to fire people or you have to let them go, don't necessarily feel bad because they will also find another aquarium that they can be what? Yes. They can be good at. But don't hold them at the detriment of your own business because if you are no more operating at an aquarium level and you are a lake, don't hold on to fishes that are supposed to be in the aquarium because if you put them in the lake, they will drown. And this is supposed to be their habitat. Anyways, part of it is you highlight the values. So the vision should reflect the organization's core values, the principles, guiding decision making and action. So remember what you were asking about when you said, how do you get them to it? It's here. Core values, the principle, guiding decision making and action. You know, like I said, engineering, science students, for every action there is an equal or opposite one. It has to be able to apply. So people need to know when you are setting the values, you are saying this is the values that we expect to see. If we see this one, this is the reaction of the value. You know, when people tell you that Nigeria defies all economic principles, it's not true. We don't. We just operate on the other end of the principle that Weibo school doesn't talk about. But we don't define any economic principle. We just operate on the place where economists do not teach about. So there is always an equal or opposite reaction for every action and every decision that happens in an organization. So that's the reason why you can take people who are not really excellent and put them in a system that is excellent. And the system will force that individual to be excellent. If they are not excellent, they will leave. Now, guess what? Many people, I'm sure when you talk to their spouse, they will tell you that this person is not an excellent individual. But they will come to work and they will be excellent. Because why? Systems and the structures are set there to be what? Excellent. You paint a vivid picture. The vision should be engaging, and you are able to paint a picture of a desirable future that motivates individuals and teams. So remember when I said who owns the vision is you. Now, the job of every founder is to be able to sell that vision to what? Their employees. So you sell that vision, and that person is so engaged to the point whereby they start to take direct ownership. So for me, I can't work in a company that I'm not connected to the vision. You can't get the best out of it. Because we were having conversation during lunch. As I'm sleeping, I'm seeing numbers. In fact, I'm a Christian, so and I pray about all these things too as well. And when I pray about, okay, how can I get the theme for next year? Let me be passing, let me see it somewhere. My own prayer doesn't involve, God, show me in a white light. It's like just awakening my spirit so I can pick the things that would make it successful. And so, being able to create a visual picture. And that's the reason why emails are so important. Because remember, emails, people can go back to it how many times? As many times as possible. So if you do a presentation for people and you do your presentation in your town hall, take the important information in that presentation, send it as what? An email. Send it as an email because you think people remember the presentation. Half of you are pressing your phone. Half of you are pressing your phone. But when you send the email, they will always have a reference point to do what? To go back to. You guys were divided into groups, Abi. So, second exercise that you are going to do. So remember the first one is what? And when will I ask for it? No, look at you. I said some people will show us their own today. But if you've not done it, you will tell me about it next week. The second activity is you are going to also start to visualize different leaders. And you go back into those your breakout groups and tell me the leader that inspires you the most. Or you tell us the leader that inspires you the most. And you tell us why that person inspires you. Do you understand it? Easy, Abi. I know it's very easy. Interestingly, I'm inspired by some badass people in this world. When I mean badass people, no, not Elon Musk. Like Putin, Hitler, all those people. Why am I inspired by them? How can you influence an entire nation to commit those atrocities? Do you understand what I'm saying? You didn't just influence them to follow you. You influence them to even go against some of their belief systems that were set in their family. How? Now, the application of those skill sets that they have, I might not like it. But their ability to. Even bad children have their good days. Anyways, so aligning the organization. When you want to align an organization, remember the top of the pyramid and the first thing is clear communication. Visionary leaders communicate their vision effectively and consistently, ensuring everyone understands its meaning and importance. What did I say about shared understanding? Till everyone understands it. Till everybody gets what? Gets it. Very important. Very, very important. And don't worry, I'm sure they will send you the slide. There's no watermark. In fact, it's my own intellectual property and I really give it to you. The next is shared ownership. They foster a sense of responsibility and accountability, empowering employees to contribute to the vision's realization. See, as a general manager, I cannot do anything to influence the day-to-day because I am not in front of the agent and the customer. But what I can do is I can do a lot to influence their behavior, their ability, and the way they think about execution. I can influence that. And the system is so strong that when we realize you're not that kind of person, you either leave or the system will catch you and you will leave. You will leave. And so I took over a turnaround situation. So I've done the startup from ground. There was no business. You incorporate it, all the CSV documents, the filing, getting the business operating license, all those things. So some of the journeys you guys have worked, I've done it. I've also raised money. Now, it's a lot easier to raise money from someone who knows nothing about your business because you can package the information right. It's harder to raise money from internal people who know about the business nook and cranny, and many of them were in the business before you. So that is how we operate as a business. They don't just say, "Oh, Babajide, take here's $1 million." I will build business case, and I'll do pitch presentations, and I'll do all those things. In fact, when I took over the business, I had a $4 million hold in my book. I was paying $4 million, and the $4 million was that they borrowed the money at 360. And FX was devaluating, and I was paying $66,000 a month to pass. Very well, my dad. Very well. Like I told you, no problem will make me see. I will sleep that 8 hours. When I wake up, I will meet it. Provided nobody's going to hold me my neck in my sleep, I will sleep it, and I still sleep till today. And it was a $4 million loan. We cleared the loan at the beginning of this year, but it was still 2024. Yes. Like me, hear this stuff. We are not. I just continue. Now all that refresh and clock and that one is a time construct to you people. For me, so we cleared it in the beginning of 2024. You remember when we cleared the loan? $4 million. And the rate then was 1,200. On morning we borrowed at 360. Don't worry. So that's when I tell you that some of this journey you have been through, I have been through it, and nothing in my right mind will make me say I want to become a founder. So welcome to all of you guys. Please continue the hard work, and this is the reason why I'm really giving some of the knowledge that I have, because you need a lot of it. So you get them to a point of shared ownership where everybody believes in the vision, and you go. So if you go into the office today, everybody has stopped talking about quantum leap. Now they are saying renaissance. And if you don't even get it right, if you call renaissance, they will even fine you. Your colleagues will be the one to say, no, that's not the right thing. Because in the email, he said it was coined by a mixture of this and this. And they will explain it to you. How do you get people to be that excellent? It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It was a lot of hard work. It was a lot of tracking. It was a lot of, yes. See, guys, you're not a charity organization. You are not an NGO. You are not Santa Claus. You are a for-profit organization. So you are a capitalist organization. So you do certain capitalist behavior. If things are not working right, you move on. The next thing is strategic alignment. They align the organizational strategy, processes, and resources with the vision. Once that vision is very clear, you know where to invest your resources in. Remember, we are in an environment that resources are very scarce. You are looking at the bank account and you are seeing it depreciate. Salary is about to come next week. Founders never rest from the 20th. 20th to 30th like this. By 30th, they will breathe small. But before you close your eyes and open again. For employees, 20th never comes fast enough. For founders, 20th comes too fast. So you see, it's like men are from Mars, women are from Venus. So, empowering and inspiring employees. You see all these things. Have you not noticed that? You've not seen anything like spreadsheets, all that. It's more around like human behaviors and human feeling. The strongest leaders. Remember I told you some of the people I admire. Because how can you inspire people to go against some of their own hobbies? In fact, when you read some of the dossiers from World War II and the soldiers that they interviewed, you hear them, they will say that they don't believe in this thing. But these guys were still marching on. They were still doing what? Marching on. And the system was so strong enough that even those that planned coup for him got found out. Ha! If I have that ability, I will use it for good. I will use it for good. You never know. Now, here's the thing about it. You know, I used to tell people and I say something, you will know. Because someone doesn't change they don't wake up and just change like that. Those traces, you've been seeing it over. It's the same way when I tell people that when I get my exit money, there's a way I'll live my lifestyle. People say, you don't know. You don't even know how much I have in my own bank account. I don't know how much I am worth. But you are projecting your own bank account on my own behavior and expect that I should be able to live in a certain way like that. And I tell people and I say, see, the day I talk about my network on Twitter, that day it will trend for 4 days. Yes, I can guarantee you that. But that doesn't define, I have a set way of how I want to live. It's the same thing with leadership. You start to see the traits from when they are team managers. You can know the person that is going to grow up to be a tyrant. You will see from, in fact, they're not team lead. You will see it when you give the team a task and you see the way they will behave. Thank God for great organizations. I was lucky to start in a great organization. And so, as an associate at 26, they had told me I was going to be a leader because I had strong leadership capacity. So I did an assessment. I done a personality test. You guys need to invest in yourself. So please go and do your own personality test. Yes, so I did the Thomas. It was the DISC test. So that's the dominant influence test as well. And it showed that I had a very unique match of D and I, which was something that they could harness. So I wasn't even a leader at that point in time. But the assessment said this skill could be harnessed to get this person to become a very strong leader. Because they are direct, they are decisive, they are driven, and they have like strong influence. So they are persuasive, they are friendly, they are charming, in fact, you need to see when I'm talking to some of my team members, I'm like toasting them. And sometimes by the time they wake up, it's like 3 months after, before they would be like, what happened? Then imagine you're having one-on-one with me every other week. So you always be there, and you know your strength, because your strength is what then now plays into how you interact with all these things. So I did the assessment, and they realized that this person is going to be a very strong leader. So what do? Continue to what? Strengthen that his leader. So I started building more of my capacity in the areas of my strength. I left my weaknesses. That's a different, people like to spend time, they'll say build your weakness. But I built my own strength significantly. And certain things about me in my leadership also showed. Because it showed that my leadership was going to be more empathetic, which is I will connect with you one-on-one. I will know you. I will be interested in you deep down. I will give you direction and all those things. So guess what? I'm still a very dominant person. And I can be very, imagine how my voice is. Imagine when I'm not really happy. It's not the best side. But it's still that point where you are able to connect with that person. So they started grooming those things. And when I was smart enough to understand what my personality assessment meant as an analyst, and this was when I was 26, I started building on those things and I started referring to those things. Now, interestingly, so then my I was higher than my D. So it meant that I was very extroverted, I was friendly, So I was the one people used to put on projects because I could talk to like clients, I could, sell a lot of things. Like if I had gone into sales, I would have been very good in sales. But guess what? Today, my D is stronger than my I. And that's a factor of the job role that I hold. Because my job role requires me to give a lot of direction, to give a lot of, feedback, to be decisive, to be everything that you can see I do. Sometimes dominant as well. Like dominant. Like my team, we told them, we are collecting ideas, all the smart things that you are doing. And now we're like, we are no more collecting ideas. We are going to tell you what to do, and you go and do it, and you execute, because we found the model that does work. That works. Now, the interesting part about last year's growth for us as a business was we did it with the same number of people we had in 2023. So there was no investment. So you drove 3 times the result with the same headcount. Everybody's like, in a devaluating economy, what madness did you guys do? It was because we found what worked. I created the team, and we weren't collecting ideas anymore. The idea circle became very what? Small.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be clear, when you say 3 times, you mean your dollar 3 times with devaluation.
And you have the idea of the numbers. So it was a quantum leap. Like the quantum leap, like a couple of multiple times. Even I was very shocked at the result because my goal was, so just to give you a rough sense of the numbers, when I started, we were averaging about 4,000 sales a month. As of last year, we were doing about 6,000, 5,000, 7,000. As of 2023, our maximum sales a month was 8,000. 8,000 sales a month. Last year, our highest sale was 39,000 a month. So you can get a sense of it was
No, you need to understand something. 2022 or 3, I missed this thing up. We recorded 700 million, which was
This dollar.
no
Naira.
which was $1 million. To do $1 million the next year had to be
1.6.
big. So you did more. 700 times 2.5. And you just to get that. So you do that, then do the dollar 3 times.
Yep.
That's
Guess what? Now my own projection wasn't really. No, guys, I'm not going to come here and stand and talk like as if I'm super. My own projection wasn't what we did. My projection was significantly lower. Like what I wanted to do was significantly lower. So my head, quantum leap was going from 6,000 to 10,000 a month. No, you weren't paying attention. So how we do it is we have other countries, which is multiple markets. Now, everything I talk about is not any of those countries, it's Nigeria. So the company in itself too grew. The company grew. Now, the thing I'm talking about is, I said we did it with the same headcount. It meant that there was no expansion whatsoever. What was that we went downwards, we densified where we were. We densified where we were. And we're doing now. Let me give you an example. Paystack called us and asked, are you guys running a program? Because they were like looking at the volumes and they were like, so imagine when you initially started and we're collecting about 150 million naira monthly. And now we are collecting about 2.8 billion a month. That is the quantum leap.
So apart from your inspiration to your team, what would you say was the macroeconomic effects? So was it that the demand for homes or businesses, but what was the other factors?
So there are so many other things that everybody starts to blame. See, the worst thing you can do for yourself is blame all the external factors without ensuring you tick your own, the internal. So last year we changed prices 11 times. Higher, lower. Because dollar started the year at 900 and closed it at 16. It was crazy. And it kept on going up. Sometimes it will go down, then it will shoot up again. Boys turned naira to crypto. It was bad. And we had to make decisions because remember the Now that's the interesting part about it. Like, I actually do know how to be content.
And that's what they're also driving. They're driving everyone to do that.
Yes, so it's an organizational thing too as well. Everyone is humble because when you go and yes, you did madness, you did a great thing and everything like that. But you look at Kenya and you're like, oh my God. The share in Kenya alone, they sold 1 million smartphones. Yes, last year we did 200,000. Yes. Yeah, but they had a 13-year start and they are all over the country and we were only 5 states. So there is still so much and you need a lot of working capital to be able to generate that level of sales. Because for you to generate for the volume that I generated, I used about $7.1 million to generate the eventual sales number that. Yes. Don't worry about the questions are more important than all these nice graphics there. People, are you learning? I know you were worried about what was going on.
Okay, thank you for everything that you shared. So you had mentioned that the year before your year of quantum leap, you had a year of operational excellence. So do you think that you have reached the quantum leap?
No.
Because also, so I just add to like my question. I noted what you said about you increased prices 11 times. That means you guys are tracking like the as
yeah. See. Bro. Very important. See, let me tell you, if you have rubbish and you scale it, what do you have? Quantum rubbish. I'll give you a very good example. Okay. I just hope everything I'm saying here is in confidence. When I took over the business, our loss rate was 17%. So for every 10 phones we were selling, we were losing 1.7 of it. Today our loss rate is 6%. What built that? We didn't change anything. It was the operational efficiency. It was the guiding principle, the building blocks. It did. You know how many people we had to tell them that, this relationship is no more working because as we were changing the system, they would be telling you this is not how we used to do things. There's nothing that drives me insane more than this is how we do things. So I got into the market. It was more or less like we are trying solar in Nigeria, solar didn't work. We are going to try smartphone, and this is your last effort. So prior to now, the story many people don't know is M-KOPA Nigeria is 5 years in the market. I'm getting into my 4th year, but we've had 4 GMs. Mm-hmm.
First year, 3.
Exactly. And it was like, it's still all those things whereby, we'll talk about some of these things when we are hiring with our biased mindset. So you start up with a foreigner, doesn't work because Nigeria is so crazy. You bring an African foreigner, doesn't work because Nigeria is so crazy. You then now bring a repat because you're Nigerian or it's good abroad. Still doesn't work. Because there are so many things. You don't understand that when they cut the lights in your house, you don't give the NEPA guy money because the guy you give money is the one that will go to the office and say, you see that house with red gate. Go back there and collect your own. So there are so many things about local nuances. And that's the reason why, for me, it's very important to start building talent. Maybe in future, I might own a talent school where we are just teaching operations people so that they can start to learn some of those things. Because in the year of building operational efficiency, there were so many things that we created. We created a new model called shop in shop, whereby we went in there. The first thing they wanted to do was to go into Ikeja City Mall to rent a shop. It's $75 per square meter in Ikeja City Mall. That cost is going to do what? It's going to bury you. And I'm asking, why do you want to do this? And the person says, that's how we used to do it. So when you don't question some of the assumptions, you realize that the reason why they are doing it is because that is how we used to do it. And you know the danger of that is how we used to do it. No, it means someone can change something in the process that can be detrimental. And because that person has a lot of power and influence, they will change the entire thing and people will keep running with it and say, that is how we used to do it. Meanwhile, that is not the right way to do it. And I'll give you a very good example. M-KOPA's official t-shirt used to be green. Today is black. Yes, because I couldn't wear green. So what did I do? I changed the shirt to black. And then people were coming in and they changed it to black. But prior to that, it was green. Because the color of the company is what? Green. But now, the color of the company is black. Guess what? I will leave the entire company. The entire company. So it's there with Nigeria. So Nigeria had the black shirt. Then people from Ghana will come and like, this shirt is so nice. Then Ghana will produce their own black shirt. Before you know it, South Africa did. Then Kenya, which was the largest market, they're popping up in black. And guess what? Jesse Moore one day said it, and I said, Babajide, I know you are the cause of this. Because he asked questions, and then they came for a retreat. And when we were giving all of them a shirt, we gave them a black shirt. So that's the danger of that is how we used to do it. And the reason why the individual responded to me of that is how they used to do it was because she didn't question the thinking of why M-KOPA used to open shops inside malls. But remember, it was a solar business. And solar panels were very big. So you needed a lot of space to store the solar panel. Meanwhile, you are selling smartphones. So you don't need so much space. What you need is a safe, a very small space that you can put a desk and a table and an agent in there and issue out stuff. So, do you know how much we were paying for many of our retail outlets when we started? ₦4,000 monthly. The whole space. The whole space. ₦4,000. The most expensive places, which was in Lekki, all those places, was 25,000 per month. How did we do it? We'll walk into John's shop and we'll say, John, how are you? Can we get a space in your shop? And John will be like, sure. I will say, we'll give you 25,000. So my team initially started with, we'll give you 25,000. And we were giving everybody 25,000. In fact, many of the landlords were jumping at it in those rural areas because their entire rent for the year was about 70K. Then you now went and you're giving him 25K. So in 3 months, he has started boasting what? Profit. So they were all jumping at it and started telling them, guys, start calibrating it. So the cheapest we pay is 4,000 naira. And when the location gets big enough and it does enough volume and traffic and it can pay for itself, we will go and get them their own shop. So there is a process that is designed for how, so everybody knows. Remember that point when I was saying action? No. Yeah. So highlighting the values, the guiding principles, the decision making and what? Action. So there's an action. Nobody needs me today to go and tell them you need to expand this shop. Why? The moment the analytics guy runs the analysis and sees that thing, he will just flag it on that. This depot is now big enough to become a shop. So we have depots, we have shops, and we have service centers. So 3 of them in the spectrum. Service centers are the nicer ones, and we only have 6 service centers. But our retail outlets in the country, as of today, is about 63 in the locations that we are. I'm sure you guys have never seen an M-KOPA shop before. Never. I know our customer. What am I doing with you? But you go to the Mekono and you go to the market, they know about what? M-KOPA. So let's go back to our leadership conversation. So empowering and inspiring employees, the first thing you need is emotional intelligence. They connect with employees on an emotional level, fostering a sense of belonging and purpose. See, leadership is about influence. Leadership is about influence. Remember the example of Hitler? Yes. Gosh. You guys can see that I'm fascinated by him because I really want to understand what he was telling them, that people were going against their own core beliefs to do what he asked them to do. So he must have connected with them on an emotional level that will make the people abandon their own dreams and their own core beliefs to follow him. He must have. And when you inspire trust in people, you see, you get to a point whereby you'll be sitting and you'll be walking and you just see people in the office, they'll look at you and they are just in awe. Like they will look at you and they are like in awe. And you start to create belief systems of people that Nigerians can look forward to. So not everybody needs to be the Mark Zuckerberg, all those things like that. You need more people who want to be the Herberts. You need people who want to be the Carl. You need more people who want to be Juliet. Because prior to this, she had a fantastic career. Yes, inspiration to become a country manager. I'm sure she doesn't know, but yes, she was my inspiration. Because you see it and you'll be like, oh, there are people who can become this. And you aspire to be that. And it's just around influence. So for you to be able to influence people, you have to be very emotionally intelligent. You have to be able to connect to them. I didn't say you need to like them. Now, that's the thing about it. I tell people I build teams, I don't build family. Family is the one that when the person offends, they will come and beg you and say, he's your brother, I'm your pastor. They can blackmail you. Say, in a team, if you are not playing well, what happens with the coach? Substitution, before you know it, you are training with the under 18. Before you know it, you are out. So I tell people I don't build families, I build a team. So nobody says we are family here. Nobody uses that language in M-KOPA Nigeria. I'm not family. I know where my family is.
That's home.
Exactly. Taking my money, they are home. Because the day, and here's why it's very important, because remember, it's about emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is about you understanding the good and the bad side of individuals. So I had a sales manager that wasn't doing very well. And so when we went to, in fact, he was in Ibadan. So I took my head of sales and we drove to Ibadan. And we are going to go and see this individual. And when we got there, we were asking her why didn't she do well. And she said it in Yoruba or translating in English. She said, "Is your child your child is not feeling well?" I just saw my wife's hand at the back saying, "Which child do you have?" So I'm like, I know my children are fine. So don't come and say, "Is your child is not doing well." Because why? She wanted to play on the emotions. Yes, at that point in time. Guess what? There are standard processes for if you have some type of, if your child is not feeling well or all those things like that. They are documented HR processes. She did none of it. But the time for retribution, the next thing she said is, "Omoyi." I said, "I know where my child is." And I remember my boys were jumping, because I have two sons. They were jumping that morning. So I'm like, my sons are very fine. So emotional intelligence, very important. Creativity and innovation. In fact, you guys are founders, so you guys are very, overdosed on creativity and innovation, because you guys can dream up anything, you can see ideas, it's people like us that used to bring you back down to say, "I know you are thinking about it and that's the business in 5 years' time, but today, what does the business look like?" So important, creativity, recognition and reward. Recognize people and reward them. On the other side of recognition and reward is penalties. Penalize people too as well. In fact, the day I stop being useful to the organization, I need them to fire me. Yes, I need them. And in my appraisal to my line manager, I talk about it and I say it there. That you need to be courageous enough to fire me the moment I am not valuable. Because why? I can go to somewhere else and I can be valuable there. Maybe my skill set is no more as strong enough to grow that business. So I'm sure you guys can see some of the fears that I also have, because as the company is growing significantly, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, will I be able to manage the size of this group? But the good thing about me is I'd already started to work last year to scale up and level up too as well. Like, I have no master's degree. Many people don't know. I went to a Nigerian university. I'm not even really proud about the university I went to. I studied computer engineering. But all the things I know about finance, about margins, about commercial operations, all those things were self-taught and self-learned. So I rarely go to trainings because I don't know how to sit in a training class and absorb knowledge. But I know how to watch video and absorb. And I know how to hold someone and say, "This thing, come and teach me." And I know how to so even with building performance and, part of the innovation and creativity that I created was how to measure people. And I tell founders a lot, everybody in your team has to have a number. They'll say he's a product guy, he doesn't have a number. Story. How many sprints were you able to deliver in a month? Let them have a number. Track against the number. You do target versus what? Actual. And do it on a how many, John? Do it on a what?
Weekly basis.
Weekly. Leave monthly. Most times, the children will be dead before you go and start to give them medicine. But if you track things on a weekly basis, you are seeing when things are going. In fact, my spreadsheet and my sheet has a health. It has a health line. If it goes up, I want to know why did it go up. Sales will increase, and I'll ask, why did sales increase? And people have to answer. Because it could be that we improved something in our process, so we've gotten something right. Or it could mean that the market has moved and competition has increased their prices. And meanwhile, do you understand what I'm saying? We are caught sleep. Question success. Don't be happy because half of the time you just find out, especially for you that are in fintech, you say, oh, numbers are growing. Question it. Because you don't know maybe how those fraud boys have entered your system and they are doing jingle. But you will be happy. Then the moment they remove the rock, you find out that, oh my God, what is this? So if you are seeing growth, question it. I don't understand. People will be seeing numbers will be improving. They won't ask questions. They will just be celebrating. Don't celebrate.
So, quick question.
Yes.
How do you draw the balance between what I call over measuring? So yeah, I have a friend who works for a startup that they install some software on their system that measures when they clock in, when they clock out, when they are.
That's a control thing.
Yeah.
So that one is not inspiring trust. That is control. So they need to speak with someone. No, it's true. They need to speak with someone to understand the root cause of the color.
Depends on the startup. The startup that's customer facing, you need to be at work on time. It depends on the.
So you can have KPIs and all that. Now, if you're a startup that you are billing hours to a client, and the client is international, then you can see why you have to do the billable hours and you have to be able to clock those billable hours. But that doesn't seem like the thing. He wants to know why, when they start work and when they stop work.
Which software you open on your computer, whether you went to YouTube, whether you.
That one is control. It's not.
No. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying that I can understand it because, so for example, KPIs and I do it weekly. When they're underperforming, right? Because I'm going to confess that we track time. When they're underperforming, I will be able to draw out why the number of visits, your punctuality to work is a factor. Because you're saying inspire leadership. Some people don't want to be led. Let me quickly identify who wants to come and who doesn't want to come. So, for example, now a particular person work starts at 9, my guy is showing at 12. No problem. And I told them, I said, you can shakara me if you can perform. If you know you can do what you need to do in 2 hours, my dear, I don't have a problem. But if you're not doing what you're supposed to do and then you leave, palm 459, jigget, and we're not getting results, I'm going to say that your attitude towards work, punctuality is just one of many things that we're doing. It's not good, do you understand? So it's not so much in case of reward or punishment because you're not kids. It's not like I won't put you detention, but it's just me tracking.
So I hear you, and there are some roles that require that. For instance, if you're working in customer service, they use ticketing systems, and workforce planning determines that you will use the number of agents you have versus the number of average tickets that you're getting. So the expectation is that maybe in an hour, an agent should be able to resolve 20 tickets, for instance. And that's what you use to then now workforce plan those things. KPIs sometimes can force those timing activities. A lot of times, I find out that it is the calibration of the KPI that isn't right. That's the reason why you are then now forced to go and see how much time people are spending on work.
I love to know.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys have 12 weeks and you speak with many more people and you speak with many more experts and people like that.
When you get into that thing, the cost of it is what you are not doing.
Yes.
Because now you now need to be checking people's time, people's this. That means you as the founder, they've distracted you.
Yep.
See, this founder, thank you. This founder and this startup journey, well, not the glamorous seat of being a leader, but you're many things. at
Yeah,
once.
and I get it that you have many things at once. To be honest with you, the devil is in the detail. And if anybody has ever watched a Founders Connect thing that I did with Case on the last FC, you'll find out that I said, sweat the detail. As a leader, you have to do what? Sweat the detail. The thing about it is, now that you've figured out that people are not utilizing their time, rather than setting a control measure, what you should be doing is you should be changing the structures of their KPI that allows to ensure that the employee is productive at the 80th percentile. But what you are doing is you found the problem. Instead of getting a cure to it, you are just managing it. So it's like a cancer patient or someone that has a headache and you're managing them like someone who has cancer.
Okay, I mean, I hear you, but at the later of the outing with a life example that's applicable to me. So if I'm opening up now, this one is my developers. How do I, this, especially this Gen Z?
So see, if you are thinking about engineers,
So jiggers.
if you are talking about engineers, because like these are things that will happen. These guys are working 3 to 4 jobs. So they are switching. For the engineer, I can't even tell him clock in and clock out. You won't beat your system.
But I don't have a system, I'm just saying.
I'm using that as an example. You will beat your system. So what are the KPIs? Remember when I said everybody must have what? Everybody must have a what?
What's the number for a developer?
No, everybody doesn't say. Everybody must have a number. Everybody must have a number. Everybody must have a number. Everybody. Whether you are the cleaner, in fact, the cleaners have a number of times that they need to actually go and clean the convenience in the office. Yes.
It's not freestyle.
It's not freestyle.
If no, you can't track it.
Please, enlighten me, how do I track this?
So to be honest, that's the hardest work.
See,
Yeah.
this
It's so.
Do you know why John is saying this thing?
Yes, John, we talk later. It's
How many
my character.
KPIs do I have that I'm tracking? I track 156.
A week?
Yes.
Do you have a team or just you?
There's a BI team, so you populate it. So put it on the dashboard, and every Monday morning we'll sit down with it, and everybody in their team will go through their numbers effectively, and then we'll write the issues that we are seeing from that numbers, and we'll pick up actions from the issues. So the next meeting, we'll look at the numbers again, we'll look at the issues from that, and we'll talk about the actions from the previous meeting that you were supposed to complete. Go everybody here, another assignment. Say, assign what? Go and read this book called Traction by Gino Wickman. Read the book called Traction by Gino Wickman. That is one of the best leadership books that have transformed my management style. Gino Wickman. Periodically.
I just read it last week.
Yes, now again. For the third time. See, go and read Traction by Gino Wickman. Amazing book. It will tell you how to run effective meetings as a leader. In fact, when I started, my team members, everybody used to come with excuses. Today, we are 4 years into doing that model. What happens now is people are coming up with issues, challenges, and solutions. Before, they were coming up with excuses. Chop. And guess what? You will be frustrated in the period where they are coming back with excuses. Don't let me come and make it sound like as if it's a very nice walk in the park. John, remember when your team was doing it the first few weeks? Some teams will record 0.
Even now.
And that's
Even now, but we will see it.
Yeah.
You can't hide.
okay, fine. That was behind the bar before I made.
Because when you are doing your leadership meetings, so you
People
say,
will ramble normally without this scorecard. When you tell people to present, they will tell you, oh, so we started this conversation with outsider and outsider. No, it's now numbers only. Nothing to say.
It's true now.
Yeah, and
Conversation
that's where
is
the
not-
emotional thing comes in. Because by the time they tell you show the outsider boss, he even told us the product is a fantastic product. No naira in your pocket. They are just telling you stories.
Guys, not trying to. Are you okay?
In fact, 12 customers told us that this is the most innovative product. Does not mean anything.
That one I promise to pay.
Yeah.
I promise to pay.
Say the lead is very hot. Meanwhile, when you bring, see,
You hear the way they'll say it, eh?
no. But guess what? But guess what? Because like I lead a country operations and I manage a P&L. So I have sales, I have retail, which is like operations. I have customer service, I have fraud, I have BI strategy and BI. I have strategy and operations, I have HR, I have finance, and all of the team leads in those, all of the leads in those places, they all come in. And guess what? I only have 2 direct reports. Organizationally, only 2 people report to me. But in that meeting, we are 9. Leave your Oga, come with your Oga. Your Oga will be watching. When I have one-on-one with your Oga, I'll tell them how they need to hold your neck. But come, and you come into that meeting and people can tell fantastic stories. Because when they were interviewing, they were telling amazing what? Stories. Remember, you have a coat of arms to deliver. I like some people, they already enjoy their coat of arms. They have what? Amazing what? Stories. So let's quickly run through this. Yes.
What role reports do you directly?
So operations and commercial. So commercial is sales, operations is customer service, retail. They report to one head of operations. So commercial, retail, business intelligence, strategy, and retention report to that person. And then the salesperson, the head of sales has like all the regional managers reporting into him and sales operations. So as well.
So where is finance? And marketing?
So finance is marketing is under sales. I don't do billboard, nothing like that. Because so I'm a proponent and believer of in my type of business. I'm a proponent and believer of the marketing expense that you put on a billboard that cannot convert. Put it in the hand of the agent. So when you put it in the hand of the agent, they will be the ones to do the conversion. So I think billboards are great for awareness for big brands who are like very big. You know, if you have a CTA, that's call to action, your billboard can work. But for us, it's a physical product that you need to go and and it's not a product like Indomie or Malta Guinness that if you see the Malta Guinness there, you want to drink Malta Guinness, you start craving it. It's not that kind of product. So billboards don't work for us. But now we have some partners who have strong armed me, and now I'm getting my partners to pay for the billboard. So they will put it, they give the money, me, my product will be on the billboard. So it's a win-win for everybody. I'm not paying for it. They get what I want to see.
So finance reports to operations? Or?
No, so finance is a business partner. HR is a business partner. They don't report to those 2 people. You need to separate them because here's the thing about it. When you need to take strong decisions in HR, you need that person to be independent of every other thing. And the only reason why we are structured like that is because we are a large company. And finance will be there because see, by the time you start to see tensions between teams, when you put numbers, you start to see people will start blaming other teams. And what used to be blaming other teams to say, it's Babajide's team that didn't do the right work, they will just raise it as an issue in a meeting. So when they raise it as an issue in a meeting, so take for instance, we use ID verification, which is managed by the tech team. So if the ID solution is down and there is no backup or the backup wasn't automatically switched to, you can start to see how it will affect sales. So what happens is my head of sales will come back and say, last week we were supposed to hit this number. He will say, in fact, when you look at Monday, Tuesday, we were trending very well. On Wednesday, the thing went down. We had stock in the depot. So you see, he's not coming to make excuses. He's building a proper business case to explain why that drop in sale happened. So there was stock in the depot, but what happened was when we went outside into the market, by the time we were trying to do that, there was an ID solution problem. So if you notice that on CC, there was a lot of unresolved tickets because people still receive tickets. And you start to see how your team's collaboration is showing up in your numbers. So we do tickets, issue resolution, sales onboarding. I told you, I said 157 KPIs that we are tracking across 7 or 8 departments. So some teams have as much as 10 that we are looking at. Very important. Let's go back to this. Transparency and communication. Remember the scorecard I was telling you about? Because scorecard allows for what? Transparency. And then communication is very important. Resilience and grit, especially in this Nigeria. Now, fostering a culture of innovation. One, experimentation. It's always good to experiment. In fact, I tell my people, if the thing doesn't work, then we know what not to do. Nothing is ever a mistake. You either know what to do, or you know what not to do, or you know what to do in what? In what? Future. We've done some things that they were ahead of their time, and we're like, you know what, we'll put this in the parking lot. And when we're right, we're like, you know, we used to do this thing. Now is the right time for us to do it. So let your team experiment. Let them collaborate. And like I said, some of the things in your collaborations will show up with your scorecard. Agility. Always embrace an agile method. Before you jump into anything, be very agile at it. I think we're there. Now, it's very important for you guys to leave, this is the last slide. So it's very important for you guys to leave a long-lasting legacy. You want a thing whereby when people work with you in the team that you manage, even if they've gone to other businesses, all those things, they will always remember you. They will always remember. There are managers that I always remember. I always remember Sheni Suleiman. Anywhere I go, I would forever remember Sheni Suleiman. Because my first foray and journey into excellence was started by that individual. And that was when I was crossing. I'm sure you guys never really asked how my transition from Access Bank to Andela was.
You just said the industry, you didn't mention it.
Oh, so yes, I used to work in Access Bank.
You just said HR.
No,
it's you that know me before that say like Ugo and John. Yeah. So yes, I used to work in banking and I worked in Access. And I moved from Access Bank to Andela.
Oh, interesting.
Think about all the bad behavior I would have taken from Access Bank into Andela. Someone was responsible for breaking those behaviors and doing what? Reshaping them. And that person was responsible for taking the good parts of that behavior and harnessing those things. So it's very important that you leave a long-lasting legacy to the people that you are living in. Let them know that you are authentic. They know what you stand for. They know what, and certain things I'm proud of is like, in my appraisals, I'm very proud of like, you know, opening it up and showing people, even when I perform well and when I don't perform well. Because everything is consistent. And there is something that you see there that is very consistent. I've had 2 line managers in M-KOPA now, and both of them say the same thing. What you see is what you get. And for a Nigerian, that is very important to me because whether we like it or not, we still do have some type of reputation. We might not like it, but now we will, so let's tell ourselves the truth. Because some people have not really done us what? Proud, and they are the loudest out of us. They're laughing. They are the loudest out of us. They've not done us proud, but they are the loudest out of us. So when you do those things, everybody will keep second guessing. Do you know how many times they audit the numbers to ensure that those numbers are real? To ensure that you guys grew 3 times. 3, not 1, 2, 3. in devaluating environment.
Dollar signs, right?
In dollar terms. You know when times audit. But when you come out of that audit, they will say what you see is what you want. Get. So that's all, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I didn't put all the things I said in the slide so that next time they'll call me back again. But yeah, like I said, it was so much fun. Now, for how many people are ready with their coat of arms? Okay, I'm gonna just show you and be proud. And guess what? Remember, this is your first penetration. Are we supposed to pick it in your imagination? Yes. No. What's your name? Good. So Mustafa has volunteered to be the first person to present his coat of arms to us next week. Clap for Mustafa. Next week. Don't worry. Next week Friday, you figure it out. Not to concern me and you tell me. Remember the point of shared understanding. Has Mustafa taken us to a point of shared understanding? Thank you, Mustafa. All right, how many of us are ready for her? Yes. You have yours? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So come and tell us about your coat of arms. So you were the first person to raise your hand the first time. So yeah, come and tell us about your coat of arms.
The coat of arms. So there is something that looks like a also similar, and that recoil. So I personally like it because it's not power. Imagine you have to charge it. Right. So there's recoil, as I like, but I did not say that recoil. And then process strength. So process strength in a gun. That's like a gun. So why? Okay, so personally, this is I'm trying to like marry everything. So this is like a couple of like limiting beliefs what you need to do. So as a founder, there are some times when I have a vision and I'm like, my voice can't. I don't know if anybody else is like that. Like, you know the capacity of your team, and then some things don't rest on you alone. And then you're like, well, if it crosses your mind and you think they can't do it, are you not projecting your own limiting beliefs on them? What if it is you that can't really do it? Like, you can't lead that. But, and that's what I see in a gun. Sorry, I keep going back to gun. A gun is going to life follow and feel like it can't kill that deer, that lion. But the gun stream member picks up the gun and shoots it. And like it works. So sometimes the people you work with, you probably just project your limiting beliefs on them and they embody it. Some of them are like guns, some of them have wings and they do not know. And I've seen that happen in my career. So I feel like we can't do this. And then again, I'm like, okay, what if I'm projecting my limiting beliefs on others? And then we talk about it. At first, it looks like something we can't all do. And then we take it step by step. We always say we grow geometrically. And then it happens. Sometimes from and sometimes it never happens. Thank you.
Amazing. I really like that. And I do hope that you continue to develop your coat of arms as you continue to build your business and you grow in your leadership journey. You start to see newer things about yourself that you can keep developing. You know, it might look like a nonsense scribble now, but very soon you will start taking it. And my hope is that in 10 years' time, some of you will catch me in the supermarket and you tell me about your coat of arms. And I would be, in fact, nothing will give me more pride than that. All right, who's next? Go.
Yeah, I like to take the stuff at this thing. So I actually drew it. and it's a lion wearing a beret and has a tie, which is a snake. And the beret actually signifies a general. A general sets the tone, thinks big. He delegates, he doesn't micromanage, and he has empathy because he was once a foot soldier as well. So he knows what it is to be in the front of the war, and he's not leading, without context. So that's the beret. The lion signifies the king of the jungle, means audacious salesman, can convert investors, employees, and of course customers. Because as the leader of an organization, I believe like they are the best of everything. So they're the first one to bring in the first investment, they're the first one to bring in the first employees, and the first one to bring in the first customers. And then the snake tied around the neck stands for, first of all, I use the snake because I know in Africa we all think when we hear snake we cringe. So being able to stand for what you believe in, not caring whether anybody cringes or not. But then the attributes of the snake is that the snake is subtle. It understands what it wants. It's wise, right? And it can be very patient. A lot of times we want to do everything at the same time. The snake knows how to sequence. Sometimes it needs to circle around you first. It's that bite it wants to bite, but it's circling around because it understands sequencing and is patient. So that's my own coat of arms for today. At least my first one.
Thank you very much. Can you see people's personalities are coming out in the coat of arms? Remember what I told you, it's very important that like your personality will come out. And you see, this activity, I want you guys to also go and do it with your leaders too as well in the team. Very important that those people to also talk about their coat of arms. You get a sense into who that individual is. All right, who's the next person? Now we now have more people down. You go like the coat of arms thing. We have 8 minutes left, so yes. So we'll try and take as many people as possible before. Yeah.
I can actually draw, but I just get this done. I'm not good at assignments. What did I do?
Wow.
Yes. So, okay, so it's a shield, and that shield is like a representation of being a platform, a foundation, and then this is like a lion and a star. So, what I'm saying is a rising star and sense of pride. Okay, and then in the middle we have Africa because we're Africa focused. We're focused on promoting our talent here. It's divided. So this half almost like circuit connectors, which emphasize our use of technology and signify our use of sort of integrating and connecting people. Then we have like a track, which is the road aspect, which highlights logistics, a big part of distribution, for e-commerce especially. And then we have the warehouses as part of our infrastructure. And last but not least, one of the last, this is the pattern, and that talks about creativity, innovation, and stuff. So our motto is helping brands grow, and I think our 3 sort of key power words are empowerment, creativity, and continuous improvement. Oh, sorry, yes, doesn't connect, goes round, almost like a ripple. Say continuous improvement. So that's what we came up.
I love it. Well done. Don't worry, it's everybody's first time, but guess what? You can start to see the level of creativity in a lot of you. Like, nobody came here to design a coat of arms. In fact, I'm sure that's the last thing you'd ever think that you would do here. Okay, so there's a few other people. So we have 4 individuals. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go with the ladies first. You're welcome.
This is it. I'm rubbish at drawing, so I'm just going to talk. Thank you. So in the middle is a diamond, and the diamond represents strength, resilience, and brilliance. That's why I do like little stars. It's like a brilliant diamond. The prayer hands are for humility, and the green shoots around it is for personal development and continuous growth. So that's
Very nice. Very nice. Ugo, where are the two other people? Like, it was that guy and yes. And you had your hand up. Don't worry, you come. Like I'm the timekeeper. Don't worry. I was the one who said 3:20, but I still have time. And guys, I'm going to become a lecturer in future. Actually, my exit money is $2 million. When I have $2 million cash, I'm quitting 9 to 5. I'm going to go and pursue my MBA, PhD, so I can actually go out. Yes.
2 million.
Eh? Cash. Not asset. Cash. I'm actually going back to school so that I can actually teach people.
Okay, so hi guys. First of all, I'm a very terrible artist, so the drawing is nothing to write home about. But I'll just explain. So there are 4 things on my coat of arms. So the first is the lion. So lion is the king, alright, king of the jungle. And basically, as a leader, you have to think as a king. You have people that are looking up to you. And then there's eyes, right? So eyes represent vision. You have to be able to see, right? Leadership is influencing people to a common goal. If you can't even see where you're leading people to, how can you lead them? Then there's the microphone, which represents communication. You can't lead without communicating, right? It's all about communication. For people to believe, you have to be able to communicate. And then the last one is an ego, which represents strength, right? And discipline. That's actually what ego means. In Igbo, ego means ego, right? So strength and discipline. And so, yeah, that's my leadership coat of arms. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, I thought he was describing his favorite rapper. Microphone, diamond. But that is actually very brilliant. All right. Yeah, you can come. Ha! Fiele! Fiele! Ah! Ah! No, it's time for us to go home. All right. I want the laptop for you, don't worry. No. Here, I'm begging. Wow.
Okay, yeah, so I used a bit of AI to get that done. And yeah, so my prompt to AI was, I want an eagle soaring with a magnifying glass in one talon, arrows in another, and then an olive branch. What this logo speaks to is my personal philosophy that I should, essentially my organization, be like the eagle, having vantage point view, conquering an entire territory, because eagles are quite territorial, having great vision, eagles can see far and wide, and then there's a magnifying glass in one hand. Magnifying glass is a twofold instrument. You can use it to set something on fire, you can use it to do a deep dive into the detail. Then of course the arrow is a precision instrument to strike and hit our sales / profit goals. Of course, and then the olive branch in the beak is what peaceful people want to see peace, want to see progress.
Well done, well done. Do you know something about this exercise? Me, I'm going back to go and do my own coat of arms. I'm actually really going back to go and do my coat of arms. Thank God I did it, guys. No, I know what they did. I didn't show you that, but I know but based off of these drawings I'm seeing, I'm like, even the people that say, well, I really can't draw. I'm like, this is very nice. The lady with the diamond and no. Alright, my man, come. I'm going back to go and do my own now. And now I'll use AI.
Alright, so this was a fun process for me. So the start here talks about quality. We like to offer quality services. I run an ethics startup. I tell my students, facilitators, the content creators that we are trying to develop content that you never receive where you get your education. So it's always a big challenge. So then the next is excellence. These are like two balances, like two lines, excellence. And we define excellence as doing our best with the resources available, not just doing our best with the resources we have. We don't put pressure on ourselves at the same time, so that we use resources wisely. Then finally, you have this Wi-Fi symbol here. Very Wi-Fi. It's
talked about accessibility. So we're just trying to reach people across different spectrum. Yeah. Yeah. So we're just trying to reach people within our target market, but yeah, different spectrum. So it talks about how we are developing a local area network system to access students in other sub-communities. Talks about we are trying to reach different partners who have unique access to different segments of our market. Those are like three.
Well done, well done. Very interesting. Come on. I already told you guys I'm going back to go and do my own program. Because I'm seeing that level of like creativity in how you guys are thinking about it. And remember, this is what? Less than 2 hours? And you guys are coming up with this. So imagine if you have that time to develop it over the years and what your coat of arm will look like. So don't throw many of these things that you've started with because that's the beginning of the process. You know, when you get to the end of the process, you need to be able to compare it and talk about how some of your journeys have changed how your coat of arms looks like. Mine has changed about 3 times. And it's not as even fine as some of the ones I've seen here. So you can tell that my own coat of arm is going to change the 4th time. Still the same ethos, but like the design will change. Last person. Sorry, yes. Oh, you wanted to? Cut-off time has passed. We've closed the gates to heaven. So next week.
Alright, so hi everyone. I have very simple drawing. So Alright, so in that drawing, right, I have an eagle, right, which represents excellence, right? I think that should be the forefront of my leadership approach, right? It's just below it I have a shield which represents essentially a way or a means to measure everything. So I put in there tractions, forecasts, those kind of things that I've put up in this session today. But the goal there is to track everything, right? Because if you can't track, you can detect when you are lagging behind or when then on both sides I have horses, right? And one horse stands for emotional intelligence and the other stands for transparency and communication, right? So essentially those are two ways that will essentially help us interact with people in the team, right? The team members and everyone around you and ensure that you are able to communicate well with them and you get everyone to be on the same page. Then at the base, I have resilience, right? So when things get tough, when you have challenges to overcome, you should be able to pull up your grit, pull up your resilience, and something.
Hold on. I think you already have a second iteration for it. Because remember when we were talking about the horses, you said wings. So maybe you want to do it. But well done to every one of you. We're very out of time, but it's important that you guys read that book, Traction by Wickman. In fact, nothing has transformed my leadership journey more than that book. Also, it's good to read First 90 Days. If you've never read that book, please read that book, the first 90 days. Yeah, the first 90 days. I've forgotten what the author is. Because I read it every time I change a new role. So I've read it 4 times now, too as well. And don't tell me you don't have time to read books. Remember, there are audio books. You used to drive. Leave whiskey alone. They've made their money. Leave Burna Boy alone. They've made their money. Listen to it in the car. When you're driving, listen to the book, and it will just continue. Too as well. That was how I read Traction the first time. It was an audio book before I read the physical book in itself. And I've been using some of the methods from Traction for the last 3.5 years there as well. And if I had the opportunity to go and do stay further again, there's so many things that I would have done differently. So thank you guys for having me. So thank you.
Guys, we can do that again. Thank you so much. Thanks. So, home run. Home run. 10-15 minutes more out of this building. So, it's been a very interesting session this morning, guys.
Right? And the story actually does run you. So it's important to just think about, what stories do I tell myself? Some people wake up in the morning and it's downhill from there. Or you wake up in the morning and you prep yourself up. These are very important and very practical. So we're going to be in the same groups, and let's take 10 minutes to go through these.
Yes, so it's just about 10 minutes. First of all, get to know members of your group. Appoint a lead person that would report back. And the question is, what have you learned so far in this conversation that could influence your personal vision statement or that of your organization?
So, thank you so much. Let's celebrate Dr. Juliet. 1 hour plus impressive content. So you can take the picture of this so that you have it when you move around. You can decide to move their space in the other room, so people can use that place. And people can decide to just move a chair towards the other side, so that when you want to have a conversation, you have this space. I'll do 1 to 5, and I'm sure nobody will be in the same startup or the same ecosystem, the same sector. If I do 1 to 5, so that makes sense, right? So you're going to take 1 to 5. So we have a group of, I think 5 would be too much. Let's do 6, so it's smaller enough for us to have a conversation. So I'll do 1 to 6. So 1, 3, 4, 1. 6, 5, 3. Okay, so 1 stand, 6. Yeah, sorry. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so once I use this side of the hall, you can move the chair. We have like 5 minutes to arrange, so that you can have that close-knitted conversation. 2 can use that room. There are some chairs there, you can just start off and use that room. We're going to probably send the reminder also. And we want you to follow Beyond the Meet on all social media handle, and also Dr. Juliet share interesting insights. So you can just take a picture and you can just follow on the social media platforms. That's the end of this session. We're going to take a group photograph after this, and then the photographer will kind of direct us how we're going to arrange ourselves. After that, you can free to just yes, you want to take video of this, right? A lot of cameras. All right, so you can stay behind and have few chat with people. Those conversations, you can learn them. We have about 15 minutes more. By 4, we want to exit this building. So, but now, let's take a group picture. We can use this side of the hall. The cameraman will kind of help us with the arrangement quickly. Take a group picture with Dr. Juliet, and that will be the end of today's session. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming.